Every year or so, AI fundamentally changes. Not just in how it works, but how we use it. Of course, we had the debut of AI many years ago now, and then a year later we had custom GPTs, which changed how we interacted with ChatGPT. We could customize it and guide it in the direction we needed it to go to perform the functions we needed it to perform. And then a year or so later, we had reasoning models. All of a sudden, these things could go and search the internet, think about it, and give us back custom results. It drove deep research. It drove a whole different way of using AI. And now we have these new things called code platforms. Some people are calling them harnesses. Some people are calling agentic applications. But whatever you call it, it's been a problem in that they've been labeled code because there's so much more than that. OpenAI has released Codex, which is what I'm trying to now tell everybody to move to from ChatGPT. The best part is you get to keep the same subscription. It's all OpenAI. You keep your same $20 or more subscription to it, and you can stop using ChatGPT and just start using Codex. And it's not that I've completely given up on ChatGPT. I still have it on my phone every time I'm curious about something or want to go find a restaurant near me with high ratings. It has this dietary, like when you're doing searches, I'll still use Chat. But for all my work, all the things that I'm trying to do with this podcast, with clients, with employers, I'm pretty much just using Codex now, almost solely just using Codex. It is such a better tool for all things you would ever use ChatGPT for, plus more. So today, I wanted to create an intro guide. For those of you who haven't seen Codex and know what I'm talking about, I wanted to just create a step-by-step process to kind of give you a grid for what it is and how you can move the things you've already built in ChatGPT over to Codex. So first, let me start off by saying that Codex is a desktop app. There's a couple different ways to use Codex, but for all marketers, I highly recommend just get the Mac app. At the time of this recording, there's no Windows app, but check because they update that kind of stuff frequently, and there could be a Windows app coming soon. But right now, it's just Mac. Let me open it up for you. You could see a lot like ChatGPT. It's got a question box. You can select your model, and you can have some projects over on the left-hand side. But there are a few fundamental differences to how this works. And the two things that I love about it is it can proactively find context and then take action. Each project you make is actually tied to a folder. Yes, a folder. So if you go and open up your desktop, let me open up my desktop here and make a folder called Hi. We're just going to make it basic, right? And if I set up a new project, I'm going to use an existing folder. I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to select Hi. I now have a project called Hi in Codex. And for those of you listening along, I am now looking at my desktop and I'm going to be talking through what I'm seeing. So if you're driving or something, you can continue getting a lot out of this and see how easy it is to move to Codex. But if not, then come and watch this on YouTube later if you need the step-by-step visual tutorial. But I have this project now called Hi, and I have a folder on my desktop, just my desktop called Hi. And if I start a new conversation within this project, everything it creates, whether it's files or code or you drop images to it, go into this folder. And that's part of where the power is you can feed it things and give it reference to things, and it can recheck things that all live in this folder. In ChatGPT, if you created a canvas of something that was important to you that you wanted to revisit later, well, you'd have to copy and go back and find that canvas, have it in a Google Doc, and then pull it back into the conversation. But what if the Codex, essentially keep tabs on all the documents every single time and leave little notes to itself to go and find this for that or that for this? That's the power of Codex. Yes, it was designed to be able to navigate code, but it's actually good for everything. All the work that I used to do in ChatGPT just happens here in Codex. For example, I'm going to open up my project called Danchez because that's my personal brand, and in here is all the work that I do for my podcast. Even now, I'm looking at all the different thumbnails I need to create that are going to be the thumbnail for this episode. And you can see it's created a lot of thumbnails based on its image generating tool for me here. But let's back up a little bit. So there's this fundamental difference in that it's organized around projects, and those projects are folders on your computer. But what if you already have an existing ChatGPT account? Well, let me show you. If you have an existing ChatGPT account, you probably are already using the projects. If you're listening to the show, you've heard me talk about the importance of organizing around projects and using custom GPTs. You probably have a mix of both. That's good. We can organize them that way. In fact, I highly recommend trying to think through what are the bigger projects. Not small projects, but like big projects that you have in ChatGPT. Each one of those can be a project over in Codex. You can see I've started a few. I have Trim Healthy Mama marketing, right? Since I'm the marketing director for Trim Healthy Mama, I have Quick Ship, a different company that I work with that's part of that company. And then I have my personal brand, which has my podcast and all the other things that I do with my website and so forth. I have them as 3 large projects. Think broader than what you would do probably with the ChatGPT project, but recreate those projects here. And then shoot, you might even take the instructions for one of those projects, like I have Trim Healthy Mama here, and kickstart the new project in Codex with your instructions that you have in your project file within ChatGPT. You might even tell it so in the first conversation. You might say, hey, Codex, I'm transferring a project from ChatGPT over to this project folder. Here's all the information you should know. It's almost like as if you have lost one ChatGPT account and you're starting a new thing. But Codex has all the personalization features, all the memory, except it's just more powerful because you can keep everything within the folder itself. So I highly recommend starting with the base of projects because that's how Codex operates. It all operates within these folder projects. And then you can take your custom GPTs, which for me were like these little specific skills. If projects were more general, custom GPTs had a one thing that it did over and over and over again. You could take the instructions for all your custom GPTs. This is the first thing I did is I just started handing it over to the project. So now I run my whole podcast out of just the one project called Danchez, and it has documents in there that label the step-by-step instructions it needs to take in order to build out my full episode. Like here, we're running through the process of generating the ideas around this particular episode, and we're walking through my pre-production process. And I've done lots of videos, my pre-production and my production process for the AI-driven marketer, and I essentially just took them all and I built them into one folder within the folder of Danchez called AI-driven marketer production. And it has instructions on what we do for pre-production. It has the instructions for what we do for production. In fact, I can open up that folder now and show you. But instead of me having to create the custom GPTs myself, I can transfer them here and then it can actually maintain them itself. And that's a big difference. Let me show you. Here I have Danchez. We have areas. Oh, I'm going to go to projects. AI-driven marketer is one. And I have all the working systems for the AI-driven marketer here. I didn't even create these folders. Codex actually created them and has reorganized them a few times as we've needed to go through. And it just keeps these MD files, which are essentially like, if you're looking at my screen, it has like this markdown file, everything that it needs to know in order to create this part of the production process, which is the AI-driven marketer thumbnail style guide. And it has all the markdown. It started as instructions, part of the instructions that were in my project for this, but now it's just one set of instructions, an MD file in this particular folder. So it knows every time we walk through the thumbnail making process for this show, it just re-references this MD file and then executes the instructions. It's fantastic. Before, if you wanted to change the instructions on ChatGPT, you had to go and do it yourself. But here, I've even done it here in this thread. I said, let's see. I said, you forgot to include my reference photo to capture what I look like. Please update the docs to ensure it happens every time and then regenerate thumbnails. So it not only generated the thumbnails, but it went and changed the pre-production workflow MD file so that it didn't forget. Again, it also updated the README file, which is kind of like a breadcrumb for itself on how to run all the other files. It often, the README files are like little breadcrumbs for itself of where to pick off every single time. And it is just really, really handy because I don't have to worry about updating docs anymore. I can be like, oh yeah, make sure to remember this, make sure to remember that. It's actually much more like working with the person because you don't have to update the SOPs. You can have Codex update the SOPs, the standard operating procedures of how you want things done. So I highly recommend starting with projects as the broad part and then putting your custom GPTs in. And at first, just let it be messy. Just let it be messy. It will add a bunch of things in the folder. You can then later go back and be like, hey, we've been doing a lot of work here. Look through all the things that we've been doing and try to create a system to organize it. But if you're an organization freak like me, you can probably start with this system. Actually start with a system called PARA, or Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archives, which was popularized by a guy named Tiago Forte in order to organize things like your Evernote or your Notion docs, kind of to create that second brain. It's pretty good. It's a good general way to organize in across a lot of different projects, across a lot of parts of your life. But I organize my things this way. You can see there's a para guide for it, Codex, to navigate how it's organized, and a few extra docs just to help keep up how it's been organized over time and what changes have been made so it can actually keep it up to date. So that's a good way to start for anybody. You can actually just go to Codex and be like, hey, we're starting a new project on X. I'd like you to organize it by with the para method from Tiago in order to get this started, and then organize it as we go. And then every once in a while, like tell it to be like, hey, there's a lot going on. Try to reorganize it and leave notes for yourself to keep it neat and tidy, and it could do that work. And that's kind of the best way to get started with Codex. Transfer your projects over from ChatGPT. Think about which custom GPTs belong to which projects. And if there's some custom GPTs that can belong to multiple projects, this is where you want to differentiate between like an operational guide within a folder, like those MD files I showed you, and what we call a skill. Skill does not exist in any of the folders. It actually exists in Codex itself. And it's not a file, it's a file that exists somewhere, but I actually don't know where it stores it, but it stores it separately. And a skill is a thing that you can call anytime across any of the projects. I'll be doing a whole separate video in the future on skills, but just know if there's a custom GPT you use it and you use it across clients, it's a general tool, but it does a specific function. That's what you're going to want to save for a skill. Just tell Codex what you want it for, and it will store it for you. But we will cover more of that in a future video. Hopefully this video was helpful in helping you just kind of get the lay of the land of transferring from ChatGPT to Codex. And start using Codex for everything. And if you want to dive deeper, I am doing a live workshop where I cover this more in depth. And if you're listening to this because it's later today, this episode will go live about an hour or two before that live workshop is going on. If you're watching this or listening to it after the fact, that's okay. Go to the same URL. You can get the live recording, which will be published probably a day or two after the live event has taken place. So just go to danchez.com/codex, where I'm going to be doing a full live walkthrough of how I'm using it, some of the cooler things that I've been doing with it, and farther step-by-step instructions of how to organize it more. And again, I'll be doing future videos on Codex because this is now the main base that I'm doing all my AI work in, or almost all my AI work, other than some other ancillary tools. This has become my go-to for almost everything, and you'll see why once we start using this and I start showing you more about it in the future. But for now, stop using ChatGPT, transfer your things over, start using Codex.